The town of Olovo is located 50 kilometers northeast of Sarajevo on the main road Tuzla to Sarajevo and the main road that connects via Zavidović to the highway Doboj-Zenica-Sarajevo. It is located at the mouth of the river Bioštica and Stupčanica, which form the river Krivaja after the mouth. The lead-bearing site of the ceramic ore Olovo at the locations Očekalj and Prgoševo is located south-southwest of Olovo in the village Bakići Dolovi, Prgoševo, Kruševo and Očekalj. The facilities of the mine, as well as the location of the future separation, are located in the forest area, a sink about 11 kilometers away from the town of Olovo. Access is provided through the main road Tuzla to Sarajevo, via a local paved road for Sokolac and Knežino, and via Macadam Road, approximately 4 kilometers for Očekalj location. In the lead mine Geomet d.o.o. Olovo, a great deal of attention is paid to safety and health at work. Therefore, we are expecting from committed associates from other companies, institutes, scientific research institutes, and all other associates who perform certain tasks to comply with valid regulations on preventing work injuries and preserving the environment. If you violate these regulations, the works must be suspended until security standards are met. All workers who perform jobs in the lead mine Geomet d.o.o. must be professionally qualified for safe and healthy work and must comply with general and special occupational safety measures. The use of personal protective equipment is mandatory. Depending on the workplace where the worker is assigned, it is mandatory to wear helmets, protective gloves, protective goggles, protective work shoes or boots and other equipment. Before the beginning of the construction of the separation for the processing of ore, in the immediate vicinity there will be a board with information of important phone numbers and instructions on the procedure in the event of an incident. The instructions will be printed in Bosnian and English. Access to the other part of objects, pits, etc. is not allowed. Smoking and working with open flames in all places where it is forbidden and visibly marked is not allowed. Smoking is not allowed in any vehicle, within a closed area, in office buildings, in underground pits, near explosives and fuel stores and flammable liquids and lubricants, as well as where the company's signs, laws or company rules prohibit smoking. Arriving at work in a drunken state, bringing into and consuming alcohol in the circle of the mine is not permitted, and all foreseen measures, as well as for other employees, will be applied, and the offenders shall be returned from the entrance gates and away from the workplace. Explosive devices or materials similar to fire, as well as all types of weapons, cannot be imported into the circle, which the guard is obliged to detect and prevent. Alcoholic beverages or narcotic drugs should not be brought into circles under any pretext. The guard is obliged to carry out an alcoholic test of the employees at the entrance gate by the method of random selection in cooperation and by the order of the Occupational Safety and Health Service. Also, at the invitation of the direct managers who express suspicion that a worker is under the influence of alcohol, an alcohol test is carried out at every workplace during the work or according to other specified need and at the request of the Occupational Safety and Health Service. Any blood alcohol value greater than 0.00% is considered a positive result. In other words, the limit is 0. If the work is carried out in the process of carrying out activities that are characteristic of dangerous works, welding, curing, brazing, metal grinding, transportation of tanks, work on altitude and other dangerous operations, they must be notified in advance to the immediate manager, safety officer and comply with all applicable regulations and obtain appropriate approval for such work by the immediate manager. The person in charge of occupational safety, in case of noticing that the works are not performed by the rules and that the occupational safety measures have not been complied with, he can suspend such works until the conditions for safe work are available. Equipment for operations such as machines, devices, installation tools, etc., with which the contracted work is carried out must have the appropriate documentation. Motor vehicles of the technical safety and registration document and equipment subject to examination must have the appropriate expert opinion that periodic testing of the correctness of such equipment is conducted. All damages, defects, congestions, injuries, and occurrences that may endanger safe and healthy work should be reported immediately to their immediate supervisor and the person in charge of the immediate control of occupational safety. The work environment and workplaces at which work is performed at the end of the working day must be arranged, cleaned, and sorted out, and the workplace must be kept in a clean and neat state. Any injuries that have occurred to a visitor or subcontractor, you are obliged to notify employees of Geomet, d.o.o, or a security guard, and they will express further instructions. In the event of minor injuries, the person closest to the injured worker at site where the injuries occurred is obliged to provide first aid, and in the quickest way to inform the manager about the occurrence of the injury in order to determine the circumstances under which the accident or injury occurred. Security may also be notified of the resulting injury which is in the immediate vicinity of the future separation and whose rooms are equipped with a stable telephone. Worksite management will first determine the nature of the injury and provide first aid to an injured employee on the spot, if this has already not been done before his arrival. If it is assessed that an injured employee must refer to the provision of medical assistance, he will be designated an escort who will take the injured person to emergency medical assistance in Oliver. In the event of serious injury at work, the person nearest to the person at the site where the severity of the injury occurred must take the following measures. Provide an injured worker with first aid and call emergency medical care and act according to instructions. He is obliged to organize the care of an injured worker accompanied by one or more persons. Transportation of injured workers will be arranged with a duty vehicle that must be located next to the post office in the immediate vicinity of the future separation. Emergency medical assistance can be notified from the security room. Every employee who sees a fire is obliged to approach fire extinguishing and localizing, if this can be done without danger to himself and other employees. If an employee is unable to extinguish the fire, he is obliged to inform other employees and make a fire report to the fire department at number 123, not counting that others have reported the fire. When you call the numbers, stop and think where you are located. Begin the conversation immediately by saying slowly and clearly what happened, what's on fire, whether there was an explosion, are people in danger, and so on. State the address and location of the fire and personally wait for help. Be prepared to provide further information and personal information, whether there are threats, is there any particular danger, for example from explosion, collapsing, etc. Ask for advice on what to do if you are in doubt. Complete the conversation when the service you contacted allows you. Do not phone further from your line until assistance comes. The service you contact may need additional information and will contact you on your phone number. Do not underestimate small fires. Turn off the fire in a bent position. If the fire is very strong, find cover in the open air, fire the wind down. For this reason, extinguish fire at a distance of 5 meters. Extinguish fire only if you do not put yourself and your colleagues at risk. Preventative fire protection measures. If you comply with all fire protection measures, you can prevent the occurrence of fire, thereby removing the possibility of causing injury to yourself and your colleagues. For this reason, it is necessary to ensure the process plant appliances, electrical, gas, ventilation, and other installations, furnaces, as well as other devices that can cause the formation and spread of fire are in proper condition. Do not do it yourself, but always call qualified workers. When you are finished with the devices, ensure that they are turned off. Do not work with open flames and inflammable and explosive materials. Do not burn waste and other materials in the open area without taking all precautionary measures to protect against the occurrence and spread of fire, and the provision of appropriate equipment and fire extinguishing. Learn about fire protective measures. Take other measures and actions to prevent the occurrence and the spread of a fire. Remember, with water, do not extinguish fire on electrical installations and voltage appliances because you can be exposed to electric shock. Extinguish fire caused by gasoline or flammable oil because these substances float on the surface of water and can cause the spread of fire.